Starting a new project is exciting. It's a chance to turn a new vision into a reality. The opportunity to change the world in some way. It could present a chance to work with new and interesting people. It also offers a clean slate to the project manager. They are starting a clean, fresh project and get to decide their approach for how they intend to tackle it. In doing so, the project manager can set themselves up for success depending on how they approach these early days. If you're starting a project or have an interest in how to start projects, you're in the right place, because I'm about to start a project of my own, and I would love for you to come with me on the journey from project startup all the way through to closure and benefits realization. I'm going to show it all in a new series of videos, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything important. In this video, we'll look at what we need to focus on when we're starting a new project, but I'll also tell you about my new project and how I'm going to try to get that started. The high-level goal of this project is to create a set of project management courses that are available to people online. This project is the continuation of some work I started earlier this year, where I intended to launch a series of products and services to people in the project management profession. The first quarter was spent launching a coaching and mentoring service for project managers, PMOs. The link to that's in the description. That covers the service part. Now I want to have a look at the product part. Off the top of my head, I know that the key activities for this project are going to include options appraisals to determine which are the best courses to deliver to the right audience. I'm going to have to consider costs and benefits. I'm going to need to work out a schedule that's going to fit in with the work-life balances that I've already got in place. It's going to involve me building, testing, releasing the courses, and applying continuous improvement throughout the whole project so that I learn and get better as I go along. There's so much more to consider, and I'm getting ahead of myself as usual. So today, we're just going to focus on starting the project. The way that a project manager usually gets assigned to a new project that's getting started is they interview and apply for a job where a project's getting started up, and on day one they get handed their project. Or they work as part of a pool of project managers within an organization, and when a new project is available and they've got capacity, the two get put together. This is a little bit unusual because I'm creating a project for myself. That's not something that usually will happen to project managers. But whichever way you receive the project, one thing that's consistent is you have to cast a critical eye over what you've been given. Even if you're not in a position to decline the project, you still need to take some time to have a look at what it's trying to achieve, to see if it's viable, to test the assumptions that have been made during its creation. Your professional reputation is linked to the outcome of this project. So if it's been started on a foundation of bad assumptions, bad estimations, and unachievable goals, you need to start to address those problems quite early on. Doing so doesn't mean that you're sending a signal that this is a bad project, or that you don't want to do it, or that you're negative in some way. All it shows is that you understand you are in a results-oriented environment and that details matter. So let's check my project and see if I'm sabotaging myself on my first day. Goal 1. Deliver 3 online project management training courses. An objective linked to the goal is to deliver them by the end of August 2023. It's unambiguous and will be very clear if it's succeeded or not, but straight away I'd be wondering what's driving the date. For your project, you might want to ask, is there a legal requirement that's driving that date, or a strategic requirement? Often when you dig into these things, you find that the dates are just aspirational, and that some director somewhere was asked, when's this going to be done? And they went, by the end of the year, or by the end of the quarter. So if you find that you've got a target date that's linked to something like a quarter end or a year end, and it hasn't got a legal requirement, it could just be an aspirational target that somebody's just conjured up with no evidence whether it's achievable or not. So that's the first thing to be careful of. In the case of my project, I can tell you that the target is due because the start of September is when my next project starts. Basically, resources need to be freed up to work on another piece of work after this. And in case you're curious, the next project is going to be to write a project management book, which is the ultimate project management product, isn't it? Just for absolute clarity though, I did consider having the book as part of this project, but I moved it out of scope because I just felt it would be too much to try to do all at once. And I tend to work a little bit better when I focus onto one set of things. If I try to do courses and write a book and do a YouTube channel and do my day job and have a family and have exercise and sleep then it might all go wrong all across the board. And oh yes, that's a lesson learned from last year. Let's talk about burnout on a different occasion though. Now we know why the project has to end by August, but what do we know about the products themselves? What do we know about the courses? Goal 2. Determine which course topics will achieve the maximum benefit for influential PMO. It's not unusual for projects to be told, here's a problem that needs to be fixed, or here's a solution to be applied, and to have to go and spend some time to work out the best options on how to go about doing that. What sometimes happens is you'll break the project up into phases where you'll have phase 1, which is all about figuring out what it is we need to go and do, and that can sometimes involve reaching out to possible suppliers with RFPs and start to determine what the best approach is to solve the problem. And then phase 2 gets on with the building or implementing of whatever solution that phase 1 recommended. So coming back to phase 1 there'll be an investigation that will include an options appraisal, and believe it or not, price won't always be the deciding factor in choosing what solution should be taken. In the case of this project, for example, I don't expect there to be too much variation between costs, and this isn't about getting a financial benefit for myself, so money isn't going to be the big decider on this one. What I will say at this point though is I'm not sure if I'm going to do the phased approach for this project. I'm going to keep it on the table, but I'm just not sure about doing it yet. The goals for this project are largely linked to timescale based objectives, but there are some cost objectives as well. I don't want to break the bank on this one, so I need to work out the right budget for the project and make sure that I'll stick to it. I'll say for this project, I don't want to spend more than £500 in getting it up and running. And that's based off the platform costs or the license costs, however it goes. That obviously doesn't factor in my own resource costs. I won't be the first project manager who's working for free, that's for sure. From a quality perspective, I think I'd like to be proud of what I've made and what I've released into the world. So I think I'd like to make the videos on a quality par with the YouTube channel and to not take any shortcuts. Let's consider how the scope of this project is starting to shape up now. There will be a maximum of 3 courses to the project, not less, not more. If I do decide to do a 4th course, then I'm going to have to go through the change control process, and then I'm going to be forced by the very process itself to weigh up the benefits that are being brought in versus the impacts that it's going to have as well, which off the top of my head I can tell will be time. And right now, going into this, I don't think I'm going to have a lot of that to sacrifice. The courses will be digital. There's not going to be any face-to-face training involved in any of this. This is not being designed to create a classroom course. This is purely a digital product. I will use one or many existing digital learning platforms. I will not create my own digital platform as part of this project. The courses are going to be about project management or in some way related to project management careers. It's not going to include things like YouTube content creation or a cookery class or any other hobbies that I might have. That book I mentioned earlier, definitely out of scope. I might spend some time writing notes to prepare to get started on writing it, but that will be time not spent on this project. I will not mix the two together. Another activity I recommend at the start of a project is checking the assumptions that have been made so far. These are going to have to be expanded on, but one thing that's for sure is you're going to have to check the validity of the existing assumptions. Assumption 1 is that the tools and platforms are going to be accessible to me within the budget that I've discussed. The next assumption is there's an audience out there for these courses. Now that's going to be harder to prove, because if I don't sell any courses, that doesn't mean the audience isn't there. It could just mean that I haven't reached them, or I haven't persuaded them, or that I haven't achieved whatever quality standards they expect. So in my opinion, that one's going to be difficult to validate. The next assumption is that I'm going to be able to carve out some time for this. I have made this assumption and been wrong in the past. There is a thing called the planning fallacy where we all overestimate how much we can accomplish in an amount of time. And I'm as guilty of it as anyone. And the last assumption is that I think it's going to just be me working on this project. There might be help that might emerge from somewhere, somehow along the way, but at the moment I have to assume it's just going to be me. What do you think? Have I missed any assumptions? Prove me wrong on that last assumption, be a teammate, and let me know in the comments if there's anything I need to consider. Now for the challenges that could become risks or issues. At first glance, I can point to I've not decided on the exact type of courses, which creates a lot of uncertainty. I've only done this kind of thing once before, and it wasn't a great success. I'll share more about that in a future video. I've not decided on a platform to share the courses on, or whether they'll all be on the same platform, so more uncertainty. Just between us, I've not determined what the long-term success of this project will look like, so let's put this one down to the benefits have not been fully determined yet. And as I've alluded to, I have very little time to complete this project. It really is an end of my desk project at this time. It has to fit around my day job, my family life, the content creation, the coaching and mentoring service that's really, really good, and the link is in the description. Maybe some exercise and sleep as well. I don't know how this is going to fit. That, I think, is the largest threat to this project. No, I've actually found a bigger challenge. I don't have a project name. So again, be a teammate. Let me know your suggestions in the comments. Before I close out the video, there's a number of you who are probably going to be screaming at the top of your lungs right now about how I haven't identified certain key people in the project, such as the sponsor, me, the project manager, me, who's paying for it, me. So hopefully you're happy now. The next video in this series is going to be about project initiation, and I really hope you'll join me there for that, and I hope you're going to come with me on this journey. If you're not subscribed already, make sure to do so you don't miss any of this journey, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.